Welcome back. So, Jordan, tell me, have you ever felt like you're standing in front of a giant, endless AI buffet, but you have absolutely no idea which menu items are actually good and which ones will just give you digital bloating? That is the perfect analogy. Honestly, lately it feels overwhelming. There are so many new tools popping up every day that it feels impossible to distinguish which ones can actually improve our workflow and which are just pure marketing tactics. Exactly. I always tell people that choosing an AI is a lot like a blind date. All the profiles look stunning at first glance, right? Great stats, big promises. But once you sit down and start talking seriously about the unsexy stuff, like data security and privacy, that's usually where things start getting awkward.
So true. That's usually the moment the spark starts to fade. So are we looking for a more reliable partner today? Someone we can actually trust?
Precisely. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on AURI v1.1, and I want to make one thing clear. We aren't just giving it a fresh coat of paint or a shiny new logo. We really went back to the kitchen, rolled up our sleeves, and reformulated the secret recipe from scratch.
Oh, so this is a total overhaul? You're not just tweaking a few settings behind the scenes, but actually changing the ingredients themselves?
Exactly. In this chat, we're going to dive into the magic sauce we added in this version. It all centers on efficiency and making the whole user experience feel much smoother, or as I like to say, much more delicious.
I love seeing behind the scenes of how a dish is prepared. I'm ready. Let's see what's cooking in AURI v1.1.
Hey, Jordan, I've been keeping an eye on your recent projects, and I noticed something interesting. You've been leaning pretty hard on just that one AI model lately. Are you just in a really good groove, or are you starting to play favorites?
Honestly, it's just so smooth. I found a rhythm with it, and I really like the interface. Is there actually something wrong with being loyal to one brand if it works?
Look, I have a bit of a life principle for this. Never be loyal to the death to a logo. You really should treat AI more like an intern and less like a life partner. You don't need to marry the software man.
Wow, tell me how you really feel. But I always thought it was better to truly master one tool than to know a dozen of them halfway.
Not in this field. You have to realize that every AI has its own zodiac sign, loosely speaking. Some are like poetic indie folk artists. They're incredible for creative writing and metaphors. Others are a bit rigid and literal, but they're absolute geniuses when it comes to raw data. If you only use one, you're going to miss out on all those other unique personalities.
I see your point. So the bottom line isn't about the brand name on the website, but more about what the machine can actually do for the specific task at hand?
Exactly. You have to choose your weapon based on the battlefield, not because the packaging looks aesthetic. Think about the Avengers. You wouldn't ask the Hulk to sew a delicate silk dress, right? He'd just destroy the sewing machine and the table along with it.
True. Hulk is definitely not the right guy for fine embroidery.
There you go. Our only goal here is to get a 4 thumbs up reaction from the client. And yes, that usually involves them borrowing their own toes because they're so enthusiastic. If the final result amazes the world, no one is going to ask which tool you used to achieve it.
So you're saying I should act more like a chef and less like a brand fanboy?
Spot on. Great chefs don't just worship the brand of their stove. They use whatever fire, pan, or knife is needed to serve the perfect dish. Don't be afraid to mix and match, Jordan. That's how you really win. Jordan, have you ever noticed how different AI models seem to have their own distinct personalities? I've been experimenting with one lately that's so unique, I've started calling it the logical architect.
The logical architect? That sounds intense, Lex. It sounds like the kind of person who wears a suit to a Zoom call, even if their camera's off. What's the vibe?
You're not far off. Imagine a total perfectionist who probably sleeps with a set square under their pillow. This AI is incredible at organizing data structures or writing code that is incredibly rigid, neat, and precise. With this one, the word approximately isn't even in the vocabulary.
Oh, I like the sound of that. So if I'm banging my head against the wall with a really complex technical problem, is this the kind of brainstorming partner I should be talking to?
Without a doubt. You could honestly call him Mr. Precision when it comes to digital logic. There isn't the slightest gap in his reasoning. It's like a Swiss clockwork mechanism. Everything has to be perfectly fitted, synchronized, and disciplined.
That's actually really cool. It sounds like a huge time saver. And I'm guessing there's no emotional drama or ego involved if I decide to pivot or give different input?
None at all.
He is a total blueprint architect and completely anti-drama. He doesn't need a morning coffee to stay focused or a pep talk to get started. He just needs a steady intake of pure logic to keep the engine running.
That fits a lot of my needs perfectly. Sometimes when your brain is totally blocked by a technical headache, the last thing you want is small talk. You just need a solid foundation to build on.
Exactly. To be clear, he's definitely not the poet type who's going to invite you to sit around and discuss your feelings. He is a highly disciplined builder. If you need a digital foundation that is rock solid and won't collapse under pressure, he's your guy.
Jordan, be honest. Do you ever look at our campaign drafts and feel like the core idea is solid, but the actual execution feels, I don't know, a bit soulless? Like the spark just isn't there.
All the time, Alex. It's frustrating. We have this strategy down, but when it hits the page, it just feels stiff. I feel like I'm constantly getting stuck right at that finish line. Do you have any ideas on how we can actually give the execution more of a wow factor?
Well, I've been thinking about using Gemini as our secret sauce. Seriously, I think it could be a total game changer for our upcoming projects.
Secret sauce? What do you mean by that? I mean, it's helpful for writing quick draft scripts and outlines, but is it really that deep?
Oh, it's way more than a draft machine, Jordan. It's not just a processor that crunches data. I've started looking at Gemini as an integrator. It has this unique way of understanding the specific context and the vibe we're trying to achieve.
But let's be real. AI language is usually pretty wooden, right? It's often flat and boring. Sometimes reading AI output feels like reading a washing machine manual. It's the last thing anyone wants to read for fun.
That's exactly the point. That's where Gemini is different. It's actually incredible at reading the room. It picks up on the nuances of human language, so the narrative it produces feels alive and personal, rather than just sounding like a robot.
So you're saying we can actually move past that flat robotic style for good?
Definitely. It takes those dry, boring points we have to hit and turns them into a story that actually flows. Honestly, sometimes it feels like the writing was done by a poet who just happened to be struck by a massive wave of inspiration.
That sounds amazing if it can really deliver. It would be a relief to have the message do more than just pass through the audience's ears. We want it to leave an actual impression.
Exactly. I've started thinking of it as a social butterfly. Its job is to make sure every message we put out there doesn't just reach the audience, but really hits home and sticks in their hearts.
You know, I've always looked at a first draft as this massive, uncarved block of marble. There's so much potential locked inside, but right now it's just raw material. Our real job is to give it some context and polish it until we reveal the masterpiece that's actually hidden in there.
I love that image, the marble block. But honestly, it makes me wonder, where do we actually fit into that process? Are we just standing back and watching the tools do the sculpting? Or are we more involved in that?
Oh, you're way more involved than you think. In fact, you're the most important part of the whole operation. Think of yourself as the creative director. If we were on a movie set, the AI would be your high-speed film crew. They can handle all the technical execution at light speed, sure, but you're the one holding the artistic vision.
So it's like the AI gives me the speed and the raw power, but I'm still the person behind the camera making the calls.
Exactly. Your main task is what I like to call precision filtering. You have total control over the final quality. You're the one adding the human touch, those little nuances and emotions that technology just can't replicate on its own. It's really a full orchestration between your intuition and the power of the tech.
That actually changes my perspective quite a bit. It's not really about the tool doing the work for me anymore. It's about how I lead the tool.
Spot on. We can set the stage and provide the crew, and at the end of the day, you're the one who decides if the final result is Oscar-worthy or if we need to go back for a reshoot.
Whoa, Jordan, you look intense. Your face has that I'm currently cracking nuclear codes look. What's going on with the laptop?
Lex, I'm at my wit's end. 1 minute the AI is brilliant, and the next it's like it's wearing the wrong costume. The output is total nonsense, just rambling word soup. Honestly, I start to panic when it gets this messy. I feel like I've broken it.
Okay, take a breath. Don't let the word soup get to you. Just think of it as the AI having a sudden case of digital jet lag, or maybe its frequency is just catching some static. In this world, that's not a crash, it's just a Tuesday.
Easy for you to say, but it completely kills my workflow. It feels like a total failure when I've spent time on a prompt and the result is just chaotic.
See, that's where you're looking at it wrong. Don't view a messy response as doomsday. View it as a navigation system. Every weird blunder or hallucination the AI makes is actually valuable bait for us. It's telling you exactly where the bridge collapsed.
So you're saying I should be using those mistakes as data to evaluate my prompts?
Exactly. Look at it like a chef in a kitchen. If you overseason a dish, you don't just throw the stove away. You learn exactly how much salt is too much. You're learning to mix a secret recipe. These misunderstandings are actually golden opportunities to sculpt instructions that are sharper, more detailed, and way more sophisticated.
I think I see where you're going with this. It's not just about fixing the error so it works again. It's about learning how to chat with the machine with more class so it actually understands the nuance of what I want.
Spot on. We're leveling up here, Jordan. Use that chaos as fuel to sharpen your strategy. Don't just patch the leak so it runs. Upgrade the whole engine so it flies.
You know, Jordan, I've been thinking lately. The professional world feels like it's turned into one giant, never-ending race. Everything is urgent, everything needs to be instant, and if it's not finished yesterday, you're behind. Do you feel that too?
I definitely see it, Alex, but honestly, it's a total trap. We've become so obsessed with chasing speed that we're starting to produce what I call digital trash. It's work that looks finished on the surface, but when you actually dig in, there's no real value there at all.
I hear you, but the pressure is real. If I'm the one moving slowly while everyone else is sprinting, won't I just get left in the dust?
Not if you change your philosophy. Look at it this way. It's much better to make only 1% progress if that progress is consistent and high quality. Think of it like cooking rendang versus making instant noodles. Instant noodles are fast, sure, but rendang takes hours for those spices to truly penetrate the meat. We should aim for the graceful, intentional steps of a world-class chef, rather than just running so fast that we burn out or trip over our own feet.
That's a powerful analogy. So instead of rushing to hit 90% completion on something that ends up being fragile, like a house of cards, it's better to move yard by yard, but make sure every inch is as solid as concrete.
Exactly. And there's a crucial step people usually skip. The moment you find a formula that works or a workflow that's effective, document it immediately. Treat it like your own secret 5-star recipe.
So the idea is to make sure success isn't just a one-time thing.
Precisely. We're trying to build a success system that's structured and, more importantly, replicable. You don't want to rely on once-in-a-lifetime luck and then spend the rest of your career wondering how you did it. You want to be able to hit that mark every single time.
That makes so much sense. So the takeaway is prioritizing depth and quality over raw speed, and using documentation to ensure our wins aren't just happy accidents.
You nailed it. Slow, steady, and exclusive. Consistency is the real key. It ensures your success has a foundation so strong that it won't be shaken when the next trend or race comes along.